slowly but surely, more American lives, forget America, human lives are being taken. What is happening in this country? Are there not other ways to deal with whatever our problems are regarding immigration in the country that uphold the fact that we're dealing with human beings?
Father John Uni delivering a powerful and relatable sermon yesterday at Boston's St. Cecilia Roman Catholic Church. Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia argues the ongoing violence in Minnesota comes at the cost of the nation's spirituality. Writing in part on social media, to see this kind of state violence is not only to witness the killing of a human being, but the spiraling spiritual death of a nation. And Senator Warnock joins us now. He also serves as a senior pastor of Atlanta's historic Ebenezer Baptist Church. Also with us, the host of Politics Nation on MS Now, Reverend Al Sharpton. He's the president of the National Action Network. And Senator, thank you for joining us this morning. Tell us what you told at your service, your community, about how to process what is happening and how to help spirituality flourish at a time like this.
Well, good to be with you this morning. I am deeply concerned about the soul of our country. I serve as pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. King served, and I would remind your viewers that while Dr. King was focused on the issue of segregation as a matter of public policy, the mantra of his organization was to redeem the soul of America. And what we are witnessing right now is indicative of a deep spiritual crisis. And I say this to people of faith or people who claim no faith tradition at all. Listen, when we saw what happened on that tape with Mr. Alex Preddy, I thought about my own upbringing. The moment they pushed that woman down on the streets, his fate was already sealed. Because if you were raised like I was raised, there's no way you're going to witness a woman being shoved violently onto the sidewalk and not try to defend her in some way. And so we witnessed his death execution style on video, but in real time, we're witnessing the spiraling spiritual death of our nation. We have to pray in this moment, not only with our lips, but with our legs, with our hands, and with our feet. And that's why I intend, as a United States Senator, to block funding for ICE this week. But this moment is about who we are as an American people, and we have to say no to Donald Trump, who is literally unleashing evil onto our streets.
And if I may, Reverend Al, I'll go to you next. I'd love for you to weigh in. We haven't heard from you yet about this on Morning Joe, but this is an immigration enforcement operation. And yet in a matter of weeks, 2 U.S. citizens are shot dead at point-blank range in the middle of a street. Some would say execution style, with the government rushing to judgment with no information, the judgment they make, the feds, not matching reality, not even close in both cases. Those are the 2 flashpoints of this immigration enforcement operations. U.S. citizens getting shot dead. And across the country, migrants, legal, documented human beings here, some waiting for their papers, some not legal, getting separated from their families, children traumatized, arrested even, their cars broken into and homes broken into, their rights violated, whether they're legal, illegal, committed a crime in the past or not. People on American soil have a right to due process, and ICE is breaking it every step of the way across America, not just in Minneapolis. So while those are flashpoints, and they are big ones, you have U.S. citizens getting shot dead. In this last case, Alex Preddy, there were 9 shots. 9 shots after his gun was taken away. Who needs to be shot 9 times when you have 9 ICE agents around him? I have to also ask, how stupid and bumbling and completely unprepared for urban streets are these ICE agents? When you look at the video, they clearly don't know what they're doing, and they are scared too, being put in a horrible position as this occupation force, as the governor of Minnesota would say, being put in the streets of Minneapolis, overrunning police, and being put in a position where the community absolutely hates what they're doing and fears them. So this cycle of fear and lack of experience leading to this 37-year-old ICU nurse who was clearly trying to help someone else, you can clearly see it in the video, getting, as many would argue, murdered by ICE. Reverend I'll ask that you please give us your thoughts of how we're supposed to process all of this right now, and then you can take it to Senator and Pastor Warnock.
I think that we have to look at where we are in this country in terms of our values and our morals. If we can accept 2 unarmed people, U.S. citizens, that are standing up for people that have been recklessly, in some cases, accused, families divided, and act like that's all right, and these 2 people are killed for standing up for that, where is our moral standards? Where are we as a people? And that's why I think it's so important when you see spiritual and faith leaders like Bishop Betty, I had on Politics Nation last night, or Bishop Matthew Haid here in New York, and others come to the forefront as faith leaders and say it's not a political issue, it's a moral issue. When we can be killed for standing up for our neighbor, practicing being the Good Samaritan. And I would ask you, Reverend Warnock, we have seen this out of the move. You pastor Dr. King's church. I came out of the northern part of that movement. I grew up in SCLC, Operation Breadbasket, under Bill Jones and Jesse Jackson. It was always central, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Where do we go with that, and how do we deal with it? I remember you always teased me the first time you were arrested was a demonstration I was leading against the shooting of Amadou Diallo, where you and some seminarians came and went to jail with us. How do we bring the moral argument into this as you and other senators hopefully stand up and say we're going to block ICE's money?
Well, let me reiterate again that I intend to block funding for ICE this week. I take seriously my role as a steward representing the people of Georgia and as a United States Senator. But, you know, in the spirit of that movement that you describe, I'm reminded of the story that Andy Young tells, that after they passed the Civil Rights Bill into law, they went to see President Johnson, and Dr. King didn't waste any time. He said, look, we need a voting rights law. And the president kept saying, we don't have the power to do that right now, Dr. King. And they left the meeting. The staff was feeling all demoralized and dejected. They said, what are we going to do? The president said he doesn't have the power. Dr. King said, well, we're going to have to go and find the president some power. That's what Selma was about. It was about agitation. It was about creative, nonviolent protests, which the Trump-Vance regime seems to want to make illegal in the United States of America. In other words, the people created the context for the change that they wanted to see. And so I'm inspired, even in this tragic moment, by ordinary citizens all across Minneapolis. These, in many respects, these are people who have not been activists, but they're looking out and they're seeing a 5-year-old being kidnapped by the government, clearly traumatized, with his little hat on with flappy ears. They're seeing American citizens being shot and killed in cold blood. And they're saying enough is enough. And so Renee Good got in good trouble. Alex Preddy stood up in the best of the patriotic spirit and our humanity, and they paid an awesome price for that. We honor them by standing up in this moment. this cannot be unanswered.
Senator, you mentioned Vice President Vance. We should also note that he retweeted the post from Stephen Miller in which Miller erroneously called Mr. Preddy a would-be assassin. You mentioned that you will be not voting for this ICE funding. Let's go a little further there. Do you have a sense from some of your Democratic colleagues where they stand on this funding bill, particularly when it pertains to DHS? Do you anticipate that the government could close over this matter?
Listen, I think whether the government closes over this matter is up to John Thune and the people in his caucus. But we're united in our commitment to ensure that in this moment we don't enable this kind of overreach by the government. I often say that one of the characteristics of evil is evil always goes too far and therefore contains within itself the seed of its own destruction. We're witnessing evil going incredibly far. And I might mention from a policy point of view that when they passed the big ugly bill, as I call it, they made ICE larger than all of the federal law enforcement agencies to include the FBI, ATF, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the U.S. Marshals, and the Bureau of Prisons combined. And so I've got to sound the alarm for American citizens. When you build a beast that large, it's got to eat, and we're witnessing it eat and consume the bodies of ordinary citizens. It is out of control. It is way too big, and we're going to see more of this on American streets if we don't rein this in.
Pastor and Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia, thank you very much for coming on this morning. We really appreciate it.
Good to be with you.